Here we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today's going to be a follow-up video to the video I dropped the other day entitled, White South Africans Push Division to Keep Black South Africans Distracted from Power. Now, of course, on my channel, I've been covering the recent developments in South Africa, especially surrounding an announcement that was made to grant visa-free access to Ukrainians. Now, of course, I was blown away. I was taken aback because this is the same exact nation that is always ranting and raving about protecting their borders, right? But meanwhile, you had this gentleman, take a look up on the screen, by the name of Leon Schreiber, the Minister of Home Affairs. Now, his job is basically to oversee the immigration process, to control the border and things like that, right? And he was the one that announced this visa-free access deal for Ukrainians. Now, when I gave my thoughts on the situation, my thoughts were simple. I look at it like this. The white South African political elites are calling in reinforcements. They're trying to boost their numbers. They're trying to expand and consolidate their political power and their economic power. They're strengthened numbers, and right now they're trying to boost their numbers. Now, when this deal was announced and it was met with some backlash and it was met with some pushback, I noticed that the Minister of Home Affairs tried to deflect and change the topic of conversation by bringing up a very old case, the case involving Chidimma Adetshina, the young supermodel girl that was involved in a scandal in South Africa a few months back. And within the past week, I see that he revoked her citizenship. He canceled her citizenship. And I thought it was very strategic timing because instead of addressing the backdoor deal that you signed with Ukraine, you decided to put Chidimma Adetshina back in the headlines and throw her under the bus. I guess in his mind, he's thinking, in an effort to get the heat off my back, let me change the topic of conversation and have the blacks squabbling amongst each other while I sneak out the back door. Now, we have new developments to talk about. They went a step further. Now, you have this organization in South Africa called the Progressive Forces of South Africa. And they have decided to draft a petition and write a letter to the Miss Universe beauty pageant to get Chidimma Adetshina removed from the competition, right? Alleging that she committed identity theft and things like that. Now, I told you my position on that. Like I said, if there's a victim, where's the victim? Y'all can't produce no victim. And on top of that, you claim that her mother stole the identity of a native South African, but how the hell she walking around with a Nigerian name? Show me the native South African named Chidimma Adetshina. Where's she at? The case been going on for months. Where the victim at? Now, in today's video, I'm gonna ask the question, are there white oligarchs funding the division between blacks in South Africa? I'm just asking questions. Now, in today's video, we're going to explore that possibility. Now, take a look up on the screen. Take a look at the headline. Controversy continues to simmer around Chidimma as she gears up for Miss Universe. Adetshina, who is now representing Nigeria in Miss Universe, is preparing to compete despite being embroiled in a heated nationality dispute. There have been rising requests and a petition for the pageant to cancel her registration following news that the Department of Home Affairs annulled the IDs of her mother and Adetshina by court order. In a letter to Miss Universe, the Progressive Forces of South Africa, the PFSA, a group well known for combating illegal migration and advocating for accountability, demands that her admission to this esteemed competition be revoked. Now, we have to do some digging into what is this organization, the Progressive Forces of South Africa, right? We got to do some, digging, some research. We got to follow the money, man. Now, if you do some research into this organization, the so-called Progressive Forces of South Africa, you're not really going to find too much information, right? You're not going to find too much information. It's very vague, so you don't really know, who's behind it, like what's going on, right? The only concrete information I could find was that they are affiliated with a political party in the country known as Action for South Africa. And that is a political party that I believe got started a few years ago. And when you go to the website, I seen this page on the website. We were encouraged by the number of activists who turned up in support of the Reclaim South Africa march organized by the Progressive Forces of South Africa on Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Now, then you get to asking, who is behind this political party, right? Who is the finance arm behind this political faction? Who is financing this political party? And then you come to find out that this political faction receives the vast majority of its funding from the Oppenheimer family. Now, the Oppenheimer family, one of the wealthiest families, in South Africa. I believe they made a good chunk of their fortune off diamond mining and things like that. And of course, like many oligarch families, they take their massive profits they made in business and they reinvest it into politics to consolidate their power in business. Now, shout out to this brother right here, right? Shout out to this brother right here. Me and him are on the same page. You see, great minds think alike. He said this: keeping black people distracted and focused on everything except their problems has to be the easiest job in the world. This petition was launched by Action for South Africa, a right-wing South African political party basically owned by the white billionaire in the picture, Nicky Oppenheimer. Instead of focusing on the only existential issue in South Africa, which is the ownership structure of the land and the resources and how that ownership built on theft came to be, Southern Continental blacks can spend their energy fighting with the Western Continental blacks over a pretty girl who really doesn't matter in the larger scheme of things. The white man doesn't want the blacks discussing important economic and political stuff that threatens his stolen fortune, so his lackeys create this attention-sapping spectacle to use up the blacks' energy. At the end of the day, whether a random 23-year-old babe called Chidima wins a beauty pageant or not, whether she returns to South Africa or not, there will only be one winner: Nicky Diamond Mine Boer, who gets to keep being a billionaire off the back of South African land that his grandfather stole from the blacks. And when he's done playing with the minds of the terminally unfocused blacks, he might even pay Chidima to model the South African diamonds that his fortune is built on. And the blacks will grumble and the world will ignore them, as it always does. It's not as if they can afford his diamonds anyway. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So, the Oppenheimer family is the majority financer of this political party, Action for South Africa, which is affiliated with this organization called Progressive Forces of South Africa that launched this petition attacking Chidima. Now, the Oppenheimer family also funds another political party entitled the Democratic Alliance, the DA. Now, going back to the Minister of Home Affairs, the guy who signed the visa-free access for Ukrainians, he is a member of that political party. So the Oppenheimer family is financing political policy to protect the border against the immigrants, while at the same time providing funding and financing for political parties that are opening the doors for more white immigrants. So on one hand, they're financing policy to keep the black immigrants out, while at the other hand, financing policy to bring the white immigrants in. Oh man. Now let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. This lady said, "They prey on our self-loathing and our prejudices. It works every time. Also, because the weak cannot fight the rich and powerful, they fight each other. It's easy for blacks to fight each other than fight the systems that oppress them. Punching up is hard. Punching down or laterally is easy. This is a global phenomenon." And that's a fact. That's a fact. But listen, man, let me talk to the family in South Africa, man. Listen, the source of your problems is not the black immigrant, bro. The source of your problem is not the black migrant crossing the border. It's not the Nigerian. It's not the Zimbabwean. It's not your fellow black man. It's not your fellow black woman, man. That's not the source of your problems, man. That is not the source of your frustration, man. The source of your problems are the small group of elite families that got rich during apartheid, who benefited off the backs of your forefathers and your predecessors. They're still here. They're still counting their money, right? They still counting their money. They still doing their thing. They still controlling the land. They still controlling the resources. They still controlling your access to opportunity. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you mad. That's why you angry, right? And when you angry, that energy has to be directed somewhere. And like the lady said before, it's easy to direct that energy to your fellow black man. It's easy to direct that energy to your fellow black woman. It's easy. It's hard to really stare at the elephant in the room. The reason why you frustrated, the reason why you fighting for scraps is not because of the Mozambican. It's not because of the Nigerian. No, it's because of the small group of elite families that are still calling the shots inside the country. The ones who inherited the economic legacy of apartheid. That is who your energy should be directed against. Not your fellow black man trying to survive. Not your fellow black woman trying to win a beauty pageant. Because in the grand scheme of things, all that shit is irrelevant. At the end of the day, there are forces behind the scenes that profit from our division. There are forces behind the scenes that are fueling our division. So, like I said, man, don't fall into the trap, man. Don't fall into the trap, man. Don't fall into the trap, man. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari Salim back in the building. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace. Superpowers. They gon' be talking and tweeting about us. Stay to myself, I don't be around them. So introverted, I'm in the mountains. Making these hits and I'm money count. Wake up each morning, I'm feeling power. I'ma get money and make a shower. Shorty a diamond, she went to Howard. When I'm up in the booth, I got superpowers. Do it myself and I'm feeling major. Don't hit me back when you need a favor. Back on my business like fuck a hater. Started my business like fuck a label. Work for myself and I'm never changing. Step in the game and I rearrange it. Chosen a call, I gotta take it. Put that shit on my life, we gotta make it. I done been here before, I've been at the top. Been at the bottom, I've been having knots. Heart of a king like I'm up in Kemet. You talking about queens, I got me a lot. Energy ancient, came out of Nubia. Tell the invaders, they better get props. Hop on the track, a nigga be schooling them. Now they be watching to see what I got. I'ma go call me a mansion. Apology given cause I'm breaking hearts. I know I'm too different to manage. She want my commitment, she want me involved, but I ain't conforming to standards. I'm trying to get rich, my vision imperial with a polygamous fashion. I'm trying to be living so lavish. Original man, they call it primordial. Play with the team, they planning memorials. Blessed with the game, I'm giving tutorials. Pain in my heart, it's feeling precordial. Bet they gon' fuck with the vision. I might go start a religion, I might go start a division. Call it the sovereign imperial secretive order. Taking it over the water, hopping on planes. I don't be up on the corner. I'ma be linking with bosses up in the office, in the executive quarters. I might go hop in a belly, hop in the rolls, chilling with somebody's daughter.